you so much. I have a lovely panel today. I was looking forward to this panel specifically because I have investors with me who would not want to listen to them. Now, for all the entrepreneurs, irrespective of the gender, irrespective of the sector, we always look forward to speaking to an investor. All three of these ladies hold immense experience in this sector. How they channelize fund, how they tap the untapped potential, how to spot a potential business, how to evaluate an entrepreneur and their startups, and so on and so forth. For this panel, we are trying to understand what more can be done in terms of equalize the opportunities for women, be it about funds, be it about capital, be it about mentorship, XYZ. But for me, all the stories of all the women entrepreneurs are different. We look up to women entrepreneurs such as Falguni Nair of Nykaa, who started at 50, leaving her job. We look at Ghazal Alag of Mamaearth. She did similar to what Falguni Nair did. She left her job and started business because of her personal experience with the kid. We look at Vinita of Sugar. She started Sugar after 2 of her venture failed with 10,000 of the initial capital. So every story is different. But what makes them, what is one factor which makes them all in the same group is their desire to do something different, is their desire to innovate in their respective sectors. But what's more important on this panel is capital. There are multiple reports that indicate that unfortunately today in 2024 in India, not only in India, but in India we still face bias against women. It's not only women entrepreneurs all across, but according to reports and many numbers, in last 3 years, there's a 75% decline in VC funding that went to women-led startups. That's discouraging, but that's the fact. Not really this, but the overall funding environment was not so encouraging, but in 2024, we are expecting it to pick up. I would not speak too much. I have a lot to speak on, but I have an eminent panel to speak on such topics. We know that it's not so encouraging and good to speak out loud that we do see bias against women, but that's the reality. From all of you, I want to understand in your opening remarks, how can you evaluate, let's suppose 2 women presenting to you their pitches, their startups. How would you evaluate? What stands out for you? What can be the differentiator to you to say a yes or a no?
I think the biggest disservice I think that people do to women is first actually hold them to different standards. So I think for me at least, and I know that this is not true for the entire population, but for me at least, if I'm speaking to a women founder or a male founder, there's absolutely no difference. Having said that, I think, I know there are a bunch of entrepreneurs here. I think, the thing that as an investor one looks at is something called founder market fit. That are you the best person to run this business, right? So I think the thing that, you can do is that, of course, the various things come into play there, right? It'll be your experience, it'll be your unique insights into the problem that you're solving, or it'll be something else that you bring to the table. But I think plenty of times, and this is not only true for women-specific problems, but you can use the fact that you're a woman to strengthen that founder market fit, right? It could be because it could be a sort of a problem that women understand better, or women bring a level of empathy which sometimes men are just not able to bring. So the fact that you're a woman founder who's solving a problem, not necessarily a female problem, but a problem that requires some degree of empathy, also kind of differentiates you compared to a male founder. So I think, just to kind of conclude, I would say that, a female or a male founder is no different, but the way to differentiate yourself is to make yourself the best person who, to solve that problem.
So I would say the same thing, but we are women, right? So when we are looking at pitches and when we are hearing pitches, we are applying the same lens, and we are saying who's got complete clarity, got good strong vision, got a great strong market that can be addressed, etc., etc. But like you said, Resham, the data points out to us that not every investor, evaluates and screens deal spaces that So a couple of data points from my side. 75% investors invest based on networks, and the affinity bias or similarity bias, which basically means I like things that look, sound, feel, think like me, influences 80% decisions. So when you look at an investing industry, which is predominantly men, and more than 90% at the decision-making level men, then obviously some of these factors come into play. And that is where I think women entrepreneurs end up with a slight disadvantage, because just in terms of having those networks and access into the industry, having like informal advisors who can talk to you about your pitch, who can talk to you about your deck, how to think about growing your business, etc. I think there is a slight disadvantage. And then if we come to the elephant in the room, which I believe is unconscious bias, I'll give you two examples. A woman entrepreneur whose husband is the global CEO for large multinational was consistently asked why she wanted to be an entrepreneur. Investors were quite convinced it was going to be a lifestyle business for her, or that she will eventually quit because her husband was making a huge amount of money. She's obviously proven them wrong over the last couple of years. Another woman entrepreneur, very well educated, with a great background with large corporates before she decided to leave her job and turn entrepreneur. I was actually told by an investor, you know what, you sound too confident, thoda needy sound karoge to hum paisa de denge. So, women entrepreneurs do have to go through a journey which I believe is usually different than the male entrepreneur. And there I say, you know what, don't take it personally. Even the best, the largest unicorns have heard no's, maybe for different reasons, but everybody hears a no. Nobody hears a yes from every investor that they approach. So, just develop resilience, just don't take it personally, just look at every conversation as a learning conversation. And keep working on sharpening your pitch, deepening your understanding of your own business and the problem that you're trying to solve.
You have picked up a very important point that made me kind of push you to also discuss how can we encourage more women to enter the investors ecosystem. We also see lesser number of women in the investing ecosystem. How can we encourage more women to come in there? We'll come to that part before.
Yeah. Hi, I run an early stage venture capital fund, Ankurit Capital. We are one of the very few funds in the ecosystem where the managing partners is led by two women, myself and Anki Das, who come with complementary experience and skill sets. And as a women-led fund, while of course I agree with the other two panelists that it's just not about having a gender bias towards specifically investing towards women, because at the end of the day, we are financial investors. We take a call on ventures which we feel will give us outlandish returns, and we look at investing in promising founders. So we keep that aside. But nevertheless, we always encourage and hear out to women entrepreneurs, and I feel that, as Nupur rightfully said, that if you don't have enough women who are investing or who are key decision makers in a fund, then you don't see that trickle down in terms of the investments which are being made into supporting, why support, to invest behind women entrepreneurs as such. And I would like to say that, as an institutional fund, we have LPs such as SIDBI, right, which is mandated by the government itself. If you look at the vision of a government, it is towards Vikshit Bharat led by empowerment of women, right? It's about encouraging and arming women to sort of help India with leapfrog with its GDP. And you are seeing that mindset difference happen in that investment ecosystem where you are seeing LPs such as SIDBI and others look at women investors and women fund managers and even founders, right? So as you see that happening, hopefully we'll start to see more investments happen in the ecosystem and build this entrepreneurship ecosystem which is unbiased towards men and women. Women should not feel the need that, oh, because I am a woman, I will be disadvantaged because I'm a working mom or something of the sort. No. right? Because it is being encouraged at the top level by investors, by LPs, which then trickles down to investors such as ourselves and hopefully others, which will make these investments into women entrepreneurs.
I fairly understand for investors, there's no gender in it. There's no male or female per se. But when we look at the larger ecosystem all across, how would you define? Is it a natural phenomena, so to say, that bias comes out from? I'm not really putting you at the opposition of the table. I'm just trying to get your viewpoint on how can we get away from this bias? When can we expect India to have 100% free of this bias against women?
So, the three of us were having a very interesting conversation just before this panel on exactly this topic. So while, personally the three of us may say that, we have no biases, and there are several investors, even male investors, right, who have no biases.
Yeah.
But it would be incorrect to say that there's no bias at all, or that no bias exists. So I think the problem is twofold. One, like, Nupur very correctly pointed out, is an input problem, right? There just aren't enough female founders who are pitching to investors, right? So that percentage compared to male founders is definitely low. And the second problem is that, yes, people do have biases, right? And, unfounded or founded biases, but there'll be, things like, we were talking about this, right? That after she gets married, is she going to remain as committed to her business? Once she becomes a mother, is she going to remain as committed to her business? Holding women to different standards, which they don't necessarily hold men to. So, for example, what I've experienced is that there was this one, woman who was pitching to us, and she was fairly well dressed for the pitch. And then I saw that some of my colleagues kind of formed a negative biases towards her because of that. They were like, she's sort of got so much makeup on, and as if that says something about that person. But men aren't held to those standards at all, right? Like a man could show up in a t-shirt or a suit or a tuxedo, and I don't think anybody would blink an eye. So yes, to your point, I think all kinds of biases exist, and women are definitely held to very different standards. They're expected to behave like men, to be taken as seriously as men. When will this change? I think we have a long way to go, but I think that we can feel happy with the fact that things are definitely moving in the right direction. I think the thing that will lead the largest change is two things. One is women at the helm in investing, which one is seeing a lot now. And the second is stories of, women entrepreneurs who made it, which are now also quite a few, right? There are several unicorns now run by women founders. So I think as that increases more and more, hopefully the biases will decrease.
I am hopeful. Nupur, now, to your point, two things. One is, what is that you're doing at your level to encourage more women to invest in women? And my second question, how can we encourage more women to come in investment environment, investment ecosystem, to become investors? These women can be from family offices, veterans from corporate India, XYZ. But how can we encourage this movement?
So my answer is gonna cover both of them, because I'm going to talk about the work that WinPe is doing. So WinPe is a not-for-profit that I started in 2020 with a specific focus of bringing more women in as investors and entrepreneurs. And we work across three pillars. The first pillar is working with fund managers, private equity and venture capital fund managers. We've got 30-odd partners, and it's just a very interesting phenomena that it's all the global funds that are our, paying partners, because they've probably heard this conversation with a lot more emphasis and a lot more urgency when they are talking to their own investors and their stakeholders in the US, for example, right? So, the TPGs and the KKRs and the General Atlantics, APACs, they are hearing this conversation with a lot more emphasis. So they are taking it very seriously, and they're trying to figure out how to hire differently, how to nurture talent, how to invest differently, how to build pipelines, and how to measure and track progress. We see some of the larger fund managers from India have the same consciousness and awareness, primarily because I think they're talking to global investors. But when it comes to a lot of the homegrown fund managers, I don't think a lot of them have really thought about it. And there are a lot of them who continue to tell us, I don't think it's a priority, Nupur. I think we are doing fine. Or, I think we are doing great in any case. So I think the awareness exists. But there is a long journey for us in even creating that awareness. The second part of what WinPe does is creating resources for women. So 1:1 mentorship program. And you mentioned Vinita, she's been a mentee in one of our cohorts as well. So a lot of networking, a lot of community building, creating your professional infrastructure, knowledge sessions, roundtables, workshops, etc., just to bring women together and give them whatever tools they need for professional success. Right? Your ability to call people and say, hey, I want to know about this investor, can you give me some insights? Hey, I want to know about this deal, I want to know about this sector, do you know what happened to this startup? Your ability to just pick up the phone and be able to talk to 4 or 5 people is so much more enhanced if you build that professional network. The third is your second question. In trying to work with young women and saying, you know what, being an entrepreneur, being an investor is actually a very exciting career option. And we do that through stories, like you said, Sukhmani, creating role models and sort of demonstrating that there is success if you follow this path. You're not going to waste your time, you're not going to waste your education and your hard work. So role models, and of course, tangible resources, CV reviews, vacancies, connecting with recruitments and all. So 3 things, let's try and change how people are working. Let's support the women who are already here, and let's try to bring more women in, and together we'll hopefully change the stats for good.
Good to see in Sukhmani's word, the growth is in the right direction. In quick 30 seconds to each, what would be one advice to all the women entrepreneurs, or let's drop women, all the entrepreneurs and investors, so to say? One quick advice from all 3 of you.
I would say be bold, have the courage to do what you are passionate about. And I think women are natural leaders. So if you feel you can dominate the home, there should be nothing which can stop you if you want to do that at a workplace. So go and assert yourself and create an impact.
You can cheer for it, and women can do louder.
I say, dare to dream big, and then dare to dream bigger. So dream what you want to do, and then dream bigger and execute that dream.
I think everything's already been said by these two. But I would say choose, one of the things we were also discussing when we were talking about it is that and this is for women entrepreneurs specifically, is that, which we all know, that the game changer is the social infrastructure around you, right? Your life partner, your parents, your in-laws. But you don't always have a choice with all of these things. But I would say that where you do have a choice, be careful. Keep your goals, your ambition, your true sense of authenticity of who you really are, where you want to get, in mind. And be careful, with what you choose, because that plays a big impact on where you will end up.
Yeah, this is very important for young women. I always say one of the biggest decisions, most critical decisions for your professional success is the choice of person you're marrying. Yes. No,
that can be a longer conversation.
You just have to be honest. Like Sukhmani said, be very authentic, be very honest.
You'll be surprised
that
after
you
marriage.
you want to pursue your career. Be honest from day one, Put it on the table. Let's not try and be the perfect woman, or I'm going to be a great homemaker, going to be a great daughter-in-law, great wife, etc., etc. Let's be who we really are. And then if the other person, if that resonates, then that's probably
I just wanted to add to that. I think this is a great event. It's a women entrepreneur and entrepreneur event. If you want to be successful in life, you have to build the right networks. So go network and go outside your comfort zone, network with everyone. And that's where I feel women sometimes, hold back. I see more men trying to network very freely and openly. And you should be uninhibited when you're networking with people. And you don't know what might just come across when you strike a conversation with someone you absolutely do not know.
Yeah, networking works. I can 1000% agree with this. On this note, we need to formally conclude this panel. I know that it's a room full of women entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs, and this conversation can go on and on and on. I'm enjoying it too much. Thank you so much, lovely ladies, for such an insightful and lovely conversation. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you so
us.
much.